So, hi everyone, and welcome to Module 3 or Session 3, whichever I call the module. So, there's a little bit of Module 3 and Session 3. So, whatever you want to call it, this is where we're at today, and we are super excited because today is the change up. So, I'll let Trevor jump in there for a minute and tell us, about the little bit of the change up today and why we're excited to step into so much learning today. Trevor.
Great stuff. So welcome everyone. We're on to module 3 already. Where's the time going? And we're going to start straight away. I'm going to share my screen with you guys so I can get this presentation up. Hold on for a second and share. And yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we're on to module 3, and at this point, we have a lot of momentum built up. We've covered a huge amount in the first two sessions. Of course, the technique, breath work, and mindfulness. So you're building it up as that layering kind of effect. We've also had the couple of icebreakers and workshops that you've facilitated with them, as well as the group mindset sessions. So we're stepping in here to communication in the workplace, which is the title of this particular module.
So,
And we're going to go through the agenda for this
yeah.
particular module. Okay.
So again, so like this, these are the exact slides that you're going to get. Well, obviously you're going to put in your own little twists on them. And this is one of the ones, again, as we have every other week, that is going to come up. So I'll keep saying it at the start of every module that we do. It's so, so important that you are prepared. So the first couple of slides are very much, again, talking them through the agenda, giving them the learning outcomes of what they're going to learn today, and then, session 2, or say the previous session recap. So when you're coming in, remember, it is that thing of you're the person who's coming with the energy. You, again, have to come in there with that confidence. And whether it is running the weekly ones or whether it is to show up at a workshop for 2 hours, doing one of the wellness days, you have to own that space. So always, always be prepared. Take the night before really to kind of recap on all the things that, whereas this agenda will slide off your tongue. Where, when you're talking about the learning outcomes, it will just slide off and you've got key points. So again, always be going back to your manual. Always go back to your manual. It's broken down in how many minutes you should be spending. So if it's a thing that, the people who we're connecting with every week is going to know really when we're prepared and when we're not prepared, because they'll see our energy. They'll know if we're kind of waffling a little bit or whether we're prepared. So always, always be prepared for your confidence, because it's a bit like what we were talking about there. It's all to do with confidence. It's that thing. The more confidence that you have, the more that you are going to stand and own this module or this session. So, as I said before, it's so, so important for you to maybe be, if you're not a morning person, to the mornings that you are doing this, to be up earlier, to, have your shower, to have a good breakfast, because the last thing you want to be thinking about if you go in to do a 4-hour workshop is, Jesus, I'm starving. Or again, run out of energy, get that little bit deflated because I'm just dying for a coffee. And nobody kind of wants to be running in, grabbing a coffee in the garage and running into a workshop. Always be prepared in your best self. And I always say that for me, it would probably be the day before. And it wouldn't be around fear. It wouldn't be like, oh, I need to get this done now so I know everything. It's more about prep. It's more about getting myself into that energy. And as I say, for all of this, for me, and I know for Trevor as well, we live this. Like, we live this because we're working with clients all the time and we show up as our best selves all the time because we're serving people. And, you know, some people, as we said, are going to really, really understand this. Some people are going to understand it. Some people are never going to hear this information. Today is really important because today, as Trevor says, is the next layer, but it's more information and it's more kind of like really a lot of stuff that they can take forward. So with the agenda, this is always going to be your first slide. And again, you're going to talk them just through the agenda. So remember, the more they kind of know, the more it's kind of in their head, okay, that's what's going to happen today. Okay, they're talking about that. Okay, they're talking about that. Because again, there's a part that some people are just there to tick the box. So some people might be sitting there thinking, oh my God, you know, when is it going to end? They'll know as the structure goes on. And obviously by week 3, they're going to be well aware of, you know, how it is going, and you'll be well aware of how it's going. So you'll be quite confident at this stage. There'll be a real flow. Even for me and Trevor, you know, coming together on Sundays and putting this together, there's such a flow even for us. And we've already, you know, run these programs loads of times. So there'll be such a flow for you at this stage. So again, going through the agenda, you'll just say, okay, you know, first thing we're going to do today, we're going to do an icebreaker, a new icebreaker. Then we're going to do session 2 and the importance recaps from last week. We're going to look at your plan. We're going to talk about the knowledge sharing today. So the knowledge sharing today is about the power of visualization to achieve your goals. We're going to do the tools and techniques. Today, we're really going to focus on visualization. We're going to do a group mindset session today with visualization. We're going to break out into our tea break for our chats and, you know, a cup of tea and a biscuit or whatever you have, whatever they normally get, or if they had lunch, whatever they get. And then back then for mind-body connection and a demonstration. And then we're going to move into active listening today. So this is the new one. So we're going to move into active listening today. We'll do a group workshop today on active listening and visualization for stress management. So remember, the other couple of weeks they've had their group workshop has been about their action plan. That's not the case today. The case today is that they're going to get a new workshop. So even for them to be to look at active listening, they're kind of like, oh, okay, I'm getting something new today. So that's going to be, even though you mightn't feel it, it is going to be a little bit exciting for them. And then we'll finish off with our finale, and we'll leave here on a positive note with all the information and everything that we have learned today that you'll take out into your week. And then we'll move into the next slide. So you're really kind of swiftly moving along. You're not taking too much time with these because, again, as I say, it is just an insight to what's coming for the day. And that's just giving them, like, this is really used. You might say, well, why do I have to go through the agenda? It's just giving them those times just to sit down for a few minutes. Because remember, some people have been just dropping off kids to school. Some people might have had an argument or had a phone call already, an email already in the morning that has wound them up a bit. So it just gives them the time to sit down. And some of them will be running in with a cup of coffee that they've just grabbed at the garage. So this is just giving them that time just to sit down, to kind of like the variety of things that are going on in their mind, just to sit down and just to focus. So it gives them that breath before you step into the actual workshop. So you're going to tell them about the learning outcomes. So today you're going to be empowered with the tools and techniques with visualization. And I'm going to speak about visualization later on. I'm going to show you, you know, the importance of visualization and why visualization is so powerful and impactful. Today we're going to learn and you're going to understand about, again, the power of visualization, but also the mind and body connection. And we're going to talk about that later on during the day. You're going to learn and improve listening and communication skills. We're going to do some knowledge base around it, but then we're also going to practice it together. So you're going to get, you know, we're going to go into groups and you are going to, again, practice listening and communication skills, which again is going to be fantastic for your workplace, but it's also going to be fantastic for, you know, your home life and anything else in your personal life. And then we're going to have a look at your action plan, and the plan for, again, homework or coursework that how you will implement the visualization and the community active listening into your week ahead.
Okay, thanks, Sharon. And then we're on to the icebreaker. So what Sharon said there, some great advice on how to prepare yourself for the session. And it's very important. I mean, even if you're like when you're traveling to the event, what I used to do in the car, put on some positive affirmations just to get you in the zone of where you want to be at the start. So you want to start off with that energy, that dynamic from the very get-go, and it's contagious. So once you have it, you'll find that like it spreads, and that's where you want to be. You want to get everybody straight away comfortable. Again, it's that fun team that is going through this whole wellness program. So they're looking forward to it. So coming along going, okay, there's going to be a bit of fun here today as well. And I'm going to learn loads. And it's having, obviously, at this point, a big impact on their lives, both in the workplace and outside the workplace as well. So you're starting off with that icebreaker. So if you remember the first session, icebreaker, which was getting them to introduce themselves and the run the company, how long they're working in the company, and what they want from the training program. So essentially, that's your first icebreaker. The second icebreaker, if you recall last week, the truth and a lie. And again, that's fun, and it gets a lot of discussion and gets more freedom there within the group uh, to express themselves. So you're on to the third session here, and the icebreaker we have for this session is the stress paper ball throw. So what's this? So this is basically where you get every participant to write down their biggest stressors. So the biggest stressor in their life. It can be one, it can be two, it can be three, whatever, but at least one. So give them a pen and paper, get them to write down what is the one thing that is causing you stress in your life, and whether it can be work related, of course, but not necessarily. And this is related to the session because the theme of the session, and you'll see as we go along, is the technique that you're teaching here today in this session is visualization. I'm going to be talking myself and Sharon about all about visualization and the mind-body connection, because the mind-body connection is a huge thing. And this icebreaker does include a little bit of the mind-body connection, because as well as being a physical activity, you're getting them to write down the stressor on a piece of paper and then crumple up the piece of paper into a ball and then throw the ball into a waste paper basket, which tends to got a lot of laughs, bit of fun as well. And it's not only fun, but it's symbolic. You know, it's symbolic. So you have that physical part of it where they're both writing down their stressor, crumpled up into a paper ball, and then throwing it away into that waste paper bin. So it's a fun and it's a symbolic way as well to help participants release their stressors um, and let go of the weight of stress as well, because this works. I mean, I often do this myself, sit down at my kitchen table, write down a load of things that that are um, stressing me out, worries, even some negative thoughts, whatever, just put them all down there on a piece of paper, list them all off, and crumple them up, and whether it go in the recycler, the waste paper basket, or the fire, it doesn't matter. It's a real creative way to get rid of stress. And in this, what is it, this icebreaker, it's also interactive because the message that it gives everybody is that, you're not alone in experiencing stress. whether it be in the workplace or outside the workplace, that it creates a bond and a unity within the group that, look, we're all human, we all experience stress, and we all sometimes can carry around that stress with us as a burden. So that's the icebreaker. So when you get them to throw it in the waste paper basket, that release, bit of fun, not all will be accurate, some will bounce all over the place, but you get a bit of fun with it, and that's your start to the session.
So I just might jump in there, Trevor, as well. So let's say if you're doing it for a bigger group, so I would have the bigger groups. So what I do sometimes, it's the same idea. So again, we have to remember that we've got 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day. We're only catching 5% of them. 95 is playing the story. So, like that, when I get them to come in, I'll either have a black bag at the top and I'll get them, again, very much to write down a stressor. You can see even how you can diverse with it for children. You could ask them to write down a worry and they're trying to throw it in the bin. And, so you can really bring this in kind of any aspect. So, what I do is when they're coming in, they will bundle up, they'll write a stressor or a worry or something that is going on in their life, and it's great as well because it gives them the freedom to write whatever they want, because nobody's going to see this, like nobody's going to see it, it's bundled up. So for me, I either have the black bag or I'll have a paper bag, and I'll just say bundle it up and throw it in the bag, but I'll leave the bag sitting somewhere that they can see it throughout the whole session. So they'll see the bag and they'll see everybody's stuff in the bag. And then just before we leave, I'll ask, does anybody want to take out their paper from earlier on? And the laughs that come up say, no, you're grand. Thanks a million. I'm going to leave it there. And I think, okay, well, I'm going to take those. And I said, I'm going to again burn them, signifying that you've just let them go. So it's, even though it seems like, a real simple one, but it's so impactful. And when you have those bigger groups, the bags are really, really a good way to, and they don't know it, but yet they're watching the bag all day. And as they're changing, because this is where we are creating, even though we've been creating a lot of change work, this is where us as therapists can really step into our own. We can own this now because we can really talk about it because we've got the passion behind it. So when they're looking at those bags, and we might be dropping in little things, we've got 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Some of them are in that black bag there. And then at the very end, you ask them, does anybody want to come up and take the thing they left in at the start? And everybody just erupts laughing like all the time. So it's really, really, a simple icebreaker, but, a really, really positive one. So I would definitely, even for, as I say, um, events, 2 hour days or 2 hour days, anything like that, it's a good one to throw in there because people are getting stuff off there, as Trevor said, almost off their chests because they're writing it down and they'll never take it back. Okay, so
So
that is just a little bit in there as well. That it's so diverse that you can use it for kids, you can use it for teachers, you can use it for absolutely anybody who you bring this program to. So when this is again the important part that I was saying, this is something that I would say. So once you do the icebreaker with them, then you come back and you start talking about the important recaps from last week. So remember why we're doing this. We're doing this for constant spaced repetition. How do there's only a couple of ways we can change. One is emotional impact. Bang, first session, you blew me away. I probably don't need any more of these sessions. I get it. I need to change. The only other way is constant spaced repetition. What are we listening to every day? What are we watching? What are we doing? So when we are recapping, we are again stirring that. It's like being on the getting that little hamster to go around and say, oh God, that's what we did last week. So what I would say for this is the one that I would say to definitely have prepped. Go back over your own notes from the week before. You don't want to spend too much time on this. So you don't want to, give them a whole you know, session like last week. You just want to give them, again, to recap, have 1 or 2 points on the importance of mental health. So you're just, again, reigniting this repetition. You're giving them the repetition. This is what we did last week. Then you're going through the techniques for reducing stress. So remember, we did the breathing. Remember, we did the six, and we did the six in through the nose and out through the nose. Remember, we did a bit of mindfulness last week. And then you talk to them then about development and update on their plan. So this is an opportunity for a couple of minutes of, again, people to say, oh, I got on well with my plan, or, oh, and you know about the ones that'll say, or they'll look down that they maybe didn't do their plan. So again, it's just repetition. Repetition is key. So you will always have to recap on the week before to, again, just ignite some of that energy, and some of that information, because as Trevor said, it's layering. We're just layering upon layering for absolute change. And we know that as therapists, the more that we work with a client, or if we give them homework, or we give them information to do and they do it, they start to change. And this is what we want for them. So that's what you recap. So as I said, this is kind of like, you will just have the bullet points, but be prepared in your mind for, some of the recaps, because as I say, you don't want to spend too long on it, but you do want to get across the main points, how this program is going to change their lives, because it's the work that we're doing week upon week that is changing the way. And as I say, this week now, I'll send out the reviews that Trevor got by the end of it, and you'll see their action plans, and you'll see how they change. So then action plans. So as I say, this is just the opportunity to kind of go into their action plans, ask them how they're getting on, how do they feel about it, because we won't be doing this at the end this week. So like, we will be touching on it to integrate it into their week, their new techniques, and their new information. But now it's our time, just about 5-10 minutes, and just saying, how did everyone get on last week? Anything come up for anybody? Is there anywhere anybody's stuck? So you use that time this week for the action plan. And then you're moving in, and Trevor's
Yeah, so
delighted
the
now.
knowledge sharing for this week is the power of visualization to achieve your goals. So we're looking at visualization. And what is visualization? Well, it's a technique that involves creating detailed images or scenarios in your mind to achieve a desired outcome or improved well-being. So what happens in our imagination happens in reality afterwards. And getting across that message, visualization is used, of course, by sports people, by celebrities, and in so many different ways. And for example, uh, the likes of the golfer Tiger Woods has used visualization since very early in his life. So a lot of golfers would use it, dart players, snooker players, and so on. But even hurlers, you see with top class hurlers, free kick takers, they have a routine that they will go through, a visualization routine of seeing that slitter and going over that bar where they wanted to go. Same with rugby, same in most sports. So it's a very, very powerful technique, of course. Um, and it's nice at this point to introduce it here in the third session, because I think at this point, I know in my experience, they're ready for it because they've got a great understanding at this point of the wellness, the information that you've given them, both the knowledge sharing and teaching them the techniques. So you're into visualization there. Of course, there's many benefits, including reducing stress by creating a calm mental environment. So, and we're going to see that in the workshop later on. I'm going to get them to role play where in previous situations in the past where they may have experienced some conflict, or some issues have arisen where the outcome was not good with it, and it's created more conflict and maybe more stress and a breakdown in communication there. And this is very common in workplaces. But once you get them, and we're going to get them to practice this here in the workshop, in this module here in the session, to use visualization in a way that previously they would have reacted in a negative way. Now they're using visualization to see themselves seeing themselves, first of all, being calm and relaxed in that particular situation and seeing a positive outcome, seeing that scenario going through in a productive way. And it enhances focus and concentration. So getting them to focus in, visualize, setting up the blueprint essentially for their reality. Helps boost confidence and program, of course, the subconscious mind. Supports mental rehearsal for difficult tasks or situations, and this is important in the workplace, but it's something that I use all of the time with my clients. For example, if I have a client coming to see me to quit smoking, I would often use some visualization with them before they leave to put themselves in a future scenario where someone is offering them a cigarette and going through that mental rehearsal of no thanks, I don't smoke, no thanks, I don't smoke, no thanks, I don't smoke. And when they find themselves in that situation without even consciously thinking about it, they're saying no thanks, I don't smoke. And you can apply that, of course, mental rehearsal to workplace scenarios as well. It helps with goal setting and motivation, again, by mentally rehearsing success. If they see it, they believe it. I said what happens in their imagination happens in reality afterwards, is getting them to see it and believe it. Now, if they're not visual, if somebody has difficulty visualizing things, there are other things that you can do as well. Of course, bringing in the other five senses into it, and using words such as pretend, I find helps. Also, sense, feel, listen. So you're bringing in more of the five senses into it. But I am of the view that everybody, all of us human beings, have the ability to visualize. And when we're children, of course, we spend all of our time most of our time in a daydream like world, using our imagination, that fun world where and that everything is kind of visual in that sense. And this is why, children, especially teenagers as well. I love working with teenagers because, they have that extra ability to focus and concentrate, and they still have the ability to visualize and use their imagination. So I think everybody has inherent skill and inherent ability. Sometimes you might find someone that hasn't used that skill. It's like everything else. It's like us human beings. We do better with practice, through repetition, through rehearsal. And eventually, it improves, and it's a skill that anybody can develop. So getting into the science of it, into the back, what's behind it, and how it definitely shows the mind-body connection. Um, so said there in the first bullet, our brain responds to imagined experiences similar to real ones. So as I said, what happens in the imagination tends to happen in reality afterwards. So it tends to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is what you're doing with them here. And in terms of the wellness program as well, in terms of yourself, visualizing a successful outcome of each of the sessions, and no matter who you're working with, setting up the session, the program, and the wellness sessions and programs in a way that they're already visualizing and seeing success from the get-go. And that's important for you to do as well as the facilitator of the wellness sessions or programs. Because essentially, we are, as human beings, we're made up of thousands and thousands of little cells called neurons. And those neurons are wired together in such a way, a different way in everyone. And we call this a neural pathway. And this essentially equals how we react or respond to any circumstance or situation that we find ourselves in. So if you can look at it symbolically or metaphorically speaking as electrical circuit of a house. So we're all wired essentially differently. And this means we have different triggers, we have different associations. And the good news is that these neural pathways are not set in stone and can be changed quite easily, actually, through breaking all negative thought patterns and cycles, letting go of um, all unwanted emotions that no longer serve them, or thoughts as well, as Sharon says, have so many thoughts a day, and most of them can be negative. So visualization is a great way to break those old patterns, those negative patterns, and help them to create new productive patterns of behavior where they are going to be responding in a calm, um, with a calm, clear mind to all of the different scenarios that they find themselves in, either in the workplace or outside the workplace as well. Because remember, all of these tools that you're teaching them, of course, they can be applied to the workplace, but also they're going to benefit all participants in every area and aspect of their lives. But when it comes to the workplace, so how can it benefit them in the workplace? Well, for example, they can, if they have a important presentation coming up to deliver, and they can visualize a successful outcome there, or a meeting, or a problem, any issue that they have with a colleague, or it could be even their manager or an employee, doesn't really matter. See themselves having a successful outcome. Now this is what I do as well. Like one of the first things from the first phone call with any of my clients, I get them, especially with the smoking cessation, because it's something that it's the most frequent one that I do, is straight away I'd say to them, look, see yourself leaving my office successful, see yourself being successful, because it tends to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. It also helps in reducing performance anxiety before challenging tasks. So if historically speaking, they had a particular task that stressed them out, applying visualization to this is going to help them prepare, it's going to help them be more confident in approaching that particular challenge with a clear mind and a clarity. It also enhances team collaboration um, through shared mental goals as well. So essentially, and the funny thing is that in my experience of delivering this, that visualization to me, because I'm a hypnotherapist now and health and wellbeing coach 15 years. So it's like, and a lot of my friends are my colleagues as well. So I kind of take it for granted that everyone kind of like knows this stuff. But you would be surprised how, much of a new thing this can be to some people, and how big of a difference that it can make in their lives when the penny drops with this. Because I think it's something that so far, you brought in the breathing, the mindfulness, and now visualization. Because mindfulness is more conscious mind, where definitely the visualization, you're definitely tapping into those, the subconscious, the deeper levels of mind there with them. So Sharon is going
Nice to
to
meet you.
facilitate a group mindset session now with you guys.
Yeah.
And
So just
Sharon,
based, thanks, Trevor. So just based on that as well, I only had a lady there last week, and she would be in my environment a lot, but she contacted me because she was quite stressed. So she was like, "Oh, I've got these projects to do. I don't know how I'm going to get them done. I'm really," so she was really confident in her work, but then she got a work overload. Then they had said that they were going to bring two people in, so two people in to help her because the workload was so huge. But she still couldn't get past that anxiety of, God, how am I going to get it done? Like, and what if these two people who come in don't know what they're doing, or they can't do the job? So she was just in a ball of, anxiety. And I said to her, like, I said, okay, well, I said, we have to change this up, because so we had to do a little bit of visualization. So it's very much what I did. What I'm going to do with you today is exactly what I did with her. So I had to say, well, how do you want the situation to look like? What would you like it to look like? And she says, oh, I just want these people to come in to be able to do it. And I said, well, we can't control that because there are other people. But I said, we can control, how you feel and how you want to feel when you go into tackle this day, and all of these things. So very much we did what we're going to do here, and it's a little bit of a disassociation. So when we get them to visualize where they want to be, and the kind of the state that they want to be in, we're taking them away from where they are right now. So she was like fully in a ball of anxiety, like she couldn't even barely get out the information that she wanted to get out, because there, there was a negative. But Sharon, you don't understand. So we have to remember that we are wired for negativity. It's just natural. We're wired to go back into that survival. We're wired to go back into worst case scenario. So even though I was like, oh, let's look at it. Oh no, there's no looking at this now, Sharon. I'm telling you, there's no looking at this. That this is the way it is now, and this is the way it's going to be. So I said, okay. And look, with the group sessions, you're not going to have that, because you've already, with the icebreaker, and this is why, again, even though it's layered, it comes in here because you've built a rapport with them. You've built a rapport with them. So now already they're going to go a little bit deeper into hypnosis. They're going to go a little bit deeper into it, into the visualization, because they now trust that they're going to sit in the chair. They're okay to sit in the chair, that they're not going to that they're not going to drift off to, this woo woo land, And this is why, especially when Trevor came in there with the mind body connection, is well, the visualization and the brain, because there are going to be people there who do think that mindfulness is woo woo. They do think it's going to be like, oh, here we go, we're up with the angels and the fairies, and but when you start talking about the mind and the connection, as I say, it's almost this week that click comes in that says, wow, this is all of me. We're actually working on all aspects of me here, because they're, as I said, they're so different coming along. So
and just one thing in that, Sharon, as well, and I keep saying it, is that make sure that you're expressing your personality when you're facilitating and delivering these programs, because it's important to use your real life experiences as well. I remember telling them that which is true, I'm currently working with my son Owen, hurling, and I have him up on the pitch. He's only under tens, and I found that what we do is we bring up a bag of balls, and we get him to practice on either side, up hitting points over. And but I found very early on that I had taught him, like, just see yourself, striking the ball confidently, see the ball going over the bar just before you do it. And when he started incorporating that, then his accuracy improved so much, improved tenfold. So it just shows you like the power of this stuff, and the importance of visualization. Sorry, Sharon.
yeah, no, that's perfect. So
Great.
when we get into the group mindset, so you're going to tell them now, now we're into the group mindset. They'll already have known that they're going to go into this at some stage. So now we're going to go into group mindset. And again, a bit like what Trevor said there, people say, oh, I can't visualize, but again, I just want you to imagine. or think about. You know, have a think about, visualize, imagination. I wonder if you could see this, you know. So you can use all of those words, but like again, imagine is just a good one. Imagine is just a good one, or think about. Have a think about. So you give them a couple of minutes to think about or to visualize a stress-free workday, or you know, a project that they have. Maybe like the lady that I had, you know, that busy project that she had. I brought her into a space and I said, I just want you to imagine now for a few moments. Just imagine, you know, what if that worked out the way you wanted to? You know, what if you went into the job, you were nice and relaxed, you walked in with your coffee, you sat down, you had to talk to these people, you know, so you can give a little bit of a scenario to something, but you give them a few minutes to think something up in their own mind. So again, imagine a past or potential conflict. So again, remember, you know, a past conflict is very easy to pull up. A potential one, it's just as easy to pull up because it'll pull off the past one. And because the past one was probably a huge conflict, it will have grown legs and arms and everything, and it will be huge even to the amygdala. It'll be like, well, God, I really don't want to step into, I don't want this again. So a lot of people, and why it's great in companies or with teachers or with any, you know, people who want to move forward, this kind of holds them back because they remember the past conflict and they remember what did happen, and they don't want to put themselves in there again. And with visualization, we don't put ourselves in the worst case scenario. We now put ourselves in, well, what does it look like if I do put myself into that fantastic position? So visualizing, staying calm, active listening, and communicating clearly, and picture the situation ending positively. So you're just going to talk them through it, just to give them an idea of what you're going to go into. So we're going to do this now. So then what you will do is you'll say, in a moment, I am going to get you to think about that. I'm going to get you to imagine that. I'm going to get you to visualize what it would look like for you to have that stress-free day. I'm going to get you to feel into it, where it feels in the body, how it feels to you. And then we're going to go into the session where you'll just completely relax into your body, and you'll just listen to my voice, and my voice is going to guide you, and my voice will empower this as we move forward. Okay, so like every situation, you're going to get the nods. So you say, is everybody ready? Is everybody ready to do some visualization? You'll wait for all the nods. Once you're getting the nods, you know, if you wanted, you could do anything else once you get the nods. So even if you're not getting the nods, there might be the couple of people there who, you know, might be a bit resistant. You make sure that you're getting compliance. So you'll say, okay, so if everybody just sits up like this and just puts your feet flat on the floor, and maybe just pop your hands on the palms of your, or pop your palms on your thighs. So again, you're getting people to do stuff. So they've already, you know, complied to going into this and taking this on at whatever level they are. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an example, not too long, but I'm just going to give you an example of, now I know there are a lot of people who will have known this already. So this is a little bit of the arrow technique, and it is a little bit again about disassociation over to see yourself having that wonderful outcome, to see yourself there confident, and then coming back into your body fully and completely with all of that positive energy that we have just done. So when you're ready, I invite you now just to close your eyes. So everybody can just do it here. And actually, is Trevor gone there now? I'll have to wait until Trevor comes back. Can I stop this share? Okay, I'll don't know how long he'd be there. Okay, so doesn't matter. So just place your hands on your thighs, close your eyes, and just using that breath now, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. The breathing in through the nose, just breathing in that relaxation, and out through the nose, just breathing out now any stressors. Trevor, can you just turn off the share there for me, please? Lovely, thank you. So as you're breathing now, softly and slowly, and just allowing the breath to come to a natural rhythm, just listen to my voice now. My voice is going to guide you, and my voice is going to empower you. You don't have to do anything at all. Just simply relax. That's it. And as you relax now and as you unwind, I want you now just to feel now your feet firmly in the ground beneath you. That's it. And just allow those feet now to relax. And as that relaxation now flows from your feet into your calves, into your thighs, just want you now to allow all those muscles now to relax deeply and soften. And no matter how relaxed your mind and your body becomes, that chair will support you. Allowing that relaxation now to enter into the stomach. As you breathe softly, breathe slowly. Allowing that relaxation now into the chest. It's going further, looser, limper, just so relaxed. Into the shoulders. And as that relaxation now enters into the shoulders, just drop the shoulders down. And allow that all the way down the arms to the very tips of your fingers. That's it. Allowing that relaxation now to flow into your jawline. And the jaw may drop slightly, and that's okay, as you just relax deeper. And that relaxation now enters into the eyes. And those tiny muscles now in the corners of the eyes, the tiny muscles behind the eyes, just relax down deeper and deeper. 100 times deeper now, more relaxed. And that relaxation now enters into the forehead. The tiny muscles now in the forehead and the hairline. Just relax down deeper and deeper. Into the top of the head. Now I want you to imagine, just get a sense of you drifting up out of your body. Just imagine that's happening now all by itself. Just allowing yourself now to drift up out of your body, to drift to the ceiling. That's it. Just drift and float and lift it up through the roof, out through the roof and up to the sky. That's it. And as you drift, the body becomes lighter and lighter. And allowing it now drift to the clouds, lighter and lighter. Hundreds, thousands of miles now. As you begin now to notice the seas, the blues of the seas, the greens of the forest, the whites of the tips of the mountains, as you just drift and float, lighter, higher, drifting. That's it. And as you just drift here, I want you now just to begin to notice or to imagine, whatever's comfortable, just the variety of things now that compete for your attention every day. Just imagine now, get a sense of the things now that compete for your attention every day. They might be the stressors, or they might be worry, or they might be fear or pressure. Just get a sense of them now. And as you get a sense of them now, I want you to look down, way, way, way down beneath you. You're going to see an archery target. I want you now to see the colours of the bands. I want you to see right in the middle of this archery target is a bullseye. And in the center of that bullseye is all of those things, the worry, the stressors, the conflict, anything else that you now need to put into that center. Because in a moment, when I count to three, you're going to be shot like an arrow straight through that center out to the other side, to a place of bliss, inner calmness, open awareness. But I want you to be brave about this, because only for a split second will you feel that energy intensify. And then you will shot through like an arrow out to the other side, to a place of complete bliss. Get ready. 1, 2, 3. Straight out through the other side. That's it. Into this place now of peaceful, calm inner awareness. A place now that almost gives a signal as you arrive down deeper and deeper down towards it. That's it. And as you just drift here now in this open space, in a place of inner peace, calmness, I want you now to allow yourself to drift to the other side of the room. And see yourself the other side of the room and the clothes that you're in, and listening to my voice. And I want you to see yourself now in the coming days, or the coming weeks, or the coming months now, experiencing something positive. Experiencing now that experience of having a positive outcome. See yourself standing there, so confident, so calm, so relaxed in this situation. I want you now to see the people around you, how calm and how relaxed and how supportive they are. I want you to feel into that feeling now as you see yourself across the room in this calm, confident energy. Feel into that feeling of how good it feels to be able to do all the things that you need to do and want to do in a relaxed, calm, and positive way. That's it. And in a moment, you're going to drift back over to your body, but only as quickly as your mind and your body now can take on all of these positive suggestions, all of this calmness, all of this confidence, bringing it back into your day, into your week, into the month ahead. Only as quickly now as the mind and the body is ready now to give you this sense of freedom. That's it, taking all the learnings, all the confidence, all the calmness, seeing these positive situations now. See that smile on your face as you know now this positive outcome is all yours. So as you drift back over to your body, dropping down into your body now completely free. Dropping back down into your body now. With all this awareness, all this calmness, all this confidence. Dropping back down into the awareness. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, and you're going to know when you're ready, to step into this brand new chapter in this confident, calm, relaxed energy. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and feel absolutely on top of this world. Take a deep breath in and out. Well done, everybody. Well done, everybody. So they will practice that. They will, and again, even for you here, I have a recording of it that I'll send for confidence. But even for you, and even like, if I come out of that now, I'd say to them, so this is what I'd say when I come out of that. I'd say, anytime you wish or need to, and you want to get back into that space, wherever you're sitting, see yourself, allow yourself to drift over to the other side of the room, see yourself there in that presentation, see yourself there in that meeting, sit and be, see the people around you, see that, feel into that confidence, feel into that energy, drift back over to your body, and that's it. You can just tell them we can do that anytime if we want to see a different situation. So it's like what Trevor said there earlier. It's all about awareness. Some people just don't have the awareness that they can disassociate and they can come back in a brand new energy. Now, a little bit what Trevor said there. I said energy because obviously I'm an energy worker, so I'll be talking about energy all the time. You don't have to say energy. You can say relaxation. You can say when you come back into that calmness, when you come back into that confidence. So, so I would use relaxation energy because, as I say, I'm an energy worker. But you don't have, if you're not comfortable saying energy, you don't have to say energy. Whatever you're comfortable with. But the words are confidence, calm. Because especially if you're trying to get rid of conflict. So just be mindful of the words. So it has to be associated with what they're doing. But usually, more often than not, to regulate our body into a parasympathetic nervous system, which we want everybody to be in. It's calm, it's relaxed, it's confident, it's successful, back into the body. The wellness days, you could always throw energy into that, especially Sharon. I know Sharon and Katrina are energy workers. Mary, I know you do the bioenergy as well. So in those days, you can always throw in the energy because it's a wellness day. So they're all into every sort of wellness therapies. So, but this, as I say, if it's a thing that you want to keep it quite structured into the corporate side of things, you don't have to say energy. But remember, it'll come across so authentic. So for me, I'm just so used to saying energy, it'll just come across authentic to me that they wouldn't even bat an eyelid. So it's the same thing for you. Be authentic in what you're doing. Well done, everybody. Great work. And at that stage, so remember, just at that stage, then you're taking them into the tea break. So you're waking them up, you're saying, back in the room. And this is a great thing as well. How did you feel there? Like how, and people's like, oh my God, Jeannie, I was floating. I didn't think I'd go, I was up with the clouds. I could see, and you'll see in this, oh my God, I seen myself. And there was like, I was 5 years down the line and someone will even say, Jesus, I looked really well. So it's a great time to break out to a tea break here. So whatever they have, the scones, the teas or whatever, you remember this is your time to mingle in with them and get a little bit of insight as well. Now, Trevor, next. Oh, you're muted there, Trevor. Get you to unmute there.
No. Great stuff. So you bring it back after the break, and as Sharon says, and we always say, the break is not a break. It's 30 minutes or so, and a bit flex. I was definitely, it's important to be flexible around the break times as well. If it goes on a little bit longer, so be it. But that's your opportunity to make and form relationships participants in terms of getting to know them a little bit better, their likes, their dislikes, so that you can tailor and customize the wellness session or wellness program to meet your needs more effectively. So once you bring it back after the break, then you are continuing with, okay, my slides here. Where my slides gone? Okay, hold on. There you go. Right, the mind-body connection explanation. So, and I'm going to do a demonstration with you guys as well, because it's a great follow-on to Sharon's what Sharon just facilitated there in terms of the group mindset session. And your key point here you're making is that our mind's response to stress, that the flight or fight response that's triggering off in our body, directly affects our physical state. And of course, we can hold on to stress in different parts of our body. It depends, I know everybody is different. For me, I can get a lot of stress in the back of my neck there. No, it's very common on the shoulders, but other people may more get it on the stomach or other parts of their body. But it just shows you that mental stress does have a physical impact, and that can result in um, people walking around in the workplace with the weight of the world on their shoulders, and that would come across in their body language and in their overall demeanor and their energy. So, as Sharon mentioned, like everything is energy, and something that I would use as well. And so you're reinforcing the message here that the techniques that we're teaching them, like whether it be the breathing, the mindfulness, or today in the session, the visualization, these are all techniques that are going to help not only reduce the mental stress, but also the physical as well. Because studies show that these practices enhances our body's ability to recover from illness as well and improve our overall well-being. And it's true what they say, with our thoughts, you can literally make yourself sick with the thoughts that you're thinking, or make yourself well as well. It's been showed with many, many studies, including, of course, I'm sure you've heard of the placebo effect as well. So the mental health and physical health are very much interconnected. And I'm going to be showing that in the next session. I'm going to show that as well with the technique that we're covering in the next session, as well as going to showing that. And literally that if you focus on an area of your body, how you can make your hands, for example, go hot or cold, just by simply saying my hands are cold or my hands are warm. So that's the power. That's the power of our minds, and it's something that most don't even realize. So I'm going to go through with you an example of the mind-body connection, and this is something that I would recommend that you facilitate for your the group, the wellness session, the wellness um, program here in the session.
And I
So
have scripts done for that as well, so I'll be sending them on. So I'll have a
great
script.
stuff, great stuff. So I'm not going to use folks' script here today. I'm just going to go through the way I would do it, either with my clients or do it in real time with the in the corporate with the companies that I'll be working with. So if everyone can, okay, make yourself nice and comfortable, sitting back with your back up straight, your head perfectly aligned over your body. And just gently then just letting your eyelids close down. And just bringing yourself down back in to that zone where you were a few moments ago, where Sharon had guided you a few moments ago. Allowing everything to slow all the way down. Calm, relax. Just focus on the breath. And letting everything slow all the way down. building up a nice natural rhythm of deep, free, and easy breathing. Calm, relaxed. And now I want you to imagine and see yourself. See yourself in your kitchen and you're walking over to your fridge. So you're walking over to your fridge and imagine now you're opening your fridge door. And when you look in the fridge, you can see a fresh, nice, juicy lemon, a full lemon, beautiful yellow color, and it's sitting there in the fridge. And allow yourself now to imagine, and I want you to imagine that you're reaching out and you're grabbing that lemon. And as you reach in and grab the lemon, when you touch it, notice how it's cold. Feels so cold. It's been in the fridge for a while. And it feels that cold, rough, smooth feeling as you bring it out in your hand. And imagine you have the lemon now. You close the fridge door, you have the lemon in your hand, and feel the lemon, the roughness of the texture of the lemon. And as you run your hands over the lemon, you can feel those little pockets, tiny pockets in the texture of the surface of the yellow lemon. And maybe with your thumb, you can even imagine you're feeling the pointy, sharp bit on one side. And it still feels cold in your hand. And now you're bringing the lemon over to your kitchen table and you're putting the lemon on a chopping board. Imagine you're getting a sharp knife and you're cutting the lemon. So you're starting to cut the lemon. You're cutting it nice and slowly, and notice as you cut it, already it's leaking juice. It's so juicy, that lemon. The juice is already running out onto the cutting board. So cutting that lemon in half, and notice how one half just rolls on to its side. And they're both, now you have two halves of lemon, both facing upwards. And I want you now to imagine that you're grabbing the half that looks the juiciest. And as you pick it up, you can now smell, because the lemon is cut, you can smell that lemony smell, that smell like an air freshener, literally like a very strong air freshener. It's natural, it's beautiful, it's a lovely smell. And as you're bringing it up, you're bringing up that lemon nice and slowly up to your mouth. And I want you to imagine now, imagine as the smell gets stronger and stronger, stronger. And now imagine taking a nice, long, slow bite from that lemon, just letting your teeth sink into that lemon. And oh, notice how, oh, it's a little bit sour to say the least. And you feel the juice flowing into your cheeks and that feeling going up to your eyes, watering, feeling of that, the taste of that lemon in your mouth. And you might even, if you like the taste of it, go back for another bite, but that's completely, of course, up to you. So now, and coming back in your own time now into the room and opening your eyes, feeling good. And just a question, did anyone, hands up, anyone salivate there? Everyone salivate? Do you salivate? Yeah? Did everyone feel that feeling of the lemon, the taste of the lemon? Sharon, did you feel it?
Yeah, but my mouth started watering, but then I was
You
giggling.
start watering. Did everyone's mouth kind of water, maybe? A little bit, yeah? Hands up, somebody? Yeah.
And you'll
Just
see it. You will see it from when, like, you'll
you
see
will
the
see it. You will
reaction.
see it. Yeah, you will see it. Now, I couldn't see you there
Yeah.
at that
Yeah,
point,
and
but
that's
you
the
will,
thing.
yeah,
Like when you were able to see them, you can draw that on. Like I could see Val there, and Val was like, "Oh, like his old eyes were squinting up, like you know."
yeah.
But you will see them swallow. So you will see them start to swallow. You will see that, because it is, even though it's visualization, it is the whole thing about the mind. The mind will start to think about food. It will start to, get the mouth salivating, and you will start to see them, and the more that you kind of see them in front of you doing it, the more you can emphasize. Because like I knew Trevor couldn't see there, so he could, like when he had seen Val, if he had seen Val there, he could have really emphasized on that's it now. And it's really kind of, that bitterness, that thing is like, but I didn't want to interrupt him, but so there's a huge difference when people are in front of you. You can really, really, see the power of this when they're in front of you, and see them, go like this and like, oh, really, So there is huge
Um,
power in it, and it is a fantastic one to practice. And this is your connection for this week. You're going to practice this on each other. You're going to
yeah,
practice a little bit of the disassociation. And so one person can do the disassociation and the other person can do the lemon technique, because it's all practice. Like, and I know a lot of people here will have done this, especially anyone who has done the mind body connection. Anyone who's done NLP, anybody who's done hypnotherapy will have already been connected in these. But it's great to experience them as well from other people and other therapists and stuff like that. So, we are quite mindful of that. But practice, practice, practice makes perfect. So, then you move them on swiftly. So you will, do that. You don't spend too much time with it. It's just, again, you ask those couple of questions that Trevor did, and then you move on, because now you already have them kind of like alert and kind of giddy because they've experienced something, and they haven't even had a lemon in their hand, even near them. So that's the phenomena with it, that they have done this, but yet they don't have a lemon. So then we move into active listening. We start talking about active listening and why it's so important, because remember, it is that thing of when we come with companies, especially, and teachers as well, in those environments, when there's always one person and people aren't seen or they aren't heard, then we're almost in a fight, and we're more reactive. So when we can learn how to actively listen to what's going on, then we emotionally regulate a lot better. So listening to intensively to the speaker. So again, we always let the people, have their voice, and we don't jump in on top of it, because more often than not, we might feel attacked. We might feel that we need to defend ourselves. So it's about learning how to let the person speak, let them have their say, and then come in with, look, at this is how I feel about it, or this is, how, I feel, and what, needs to happen for me in this scenario. So understand what they're saying. So again, like that, sometimes if we're quite reactive, if again, there's conflict, and this is why by the time we have done the meditations, and by the time we've done all the change work, people are going to be more of have a calmer response. So when we're stressed, we're reactive. We want to come out of a reactive mode and go into responsive. So when I'm responsive, I'm more attentively listening to the person. I'm understanding what they're saying. So again, this part of my brain is more relaxed when I do meditation. It's more relaxed when I do mindfulness. My amygdala is more relaxed, so it's not going to, jump and saying, well, this is what you're saying. The other person is trying to say, well, that's not what I'm saying. So that conflict between the logic and the feeling side does be gone, or relaxed, let's say. It has dropped its guard. You do not interrupt or you do not judge people. We go on basis of, what the person is saying, but we will on that aspect as well always have our word. Respond and reflect on what's being said. So that's why, even when we're going for, when people are asking us to do jobs, and people are saying, oh, do this job, do that job, and we're like, yes, 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 and next minute we've got a million jobs to do. Where it's about, reflecting. I would probably put reflect on it and then respond. So it's like, okay, I have to give me a minute to think about that, or I'll get back to you in 10 minutes, I'll get back to you in 20 minutes. I just have to have a look at my diary and see, can I fit it in? So you're helping them, actively listen to what's needed in the project or needed in that moment, and then giving them that space, allowing them that space then to reflect on it, see what works well for them, because now they've just listened to what's needed, and then then you respond, and you respond then in a more productive and a calmer way, whereas everybody leaves the situation feeling good. So this is what we are going to go into. So this is where you would do the group work. You would do the group work here, and you would put them into groups of two. And you would get them, then one partner talks about communication, a barrier, a conflict, something that they've faced in the workplace that's caused them stress. So you would put them in, you've already talked about active listening. They're now thinking, well, I tried that before, and this person did this, and this person said that, and this was, they'll already be a little bit heightened, and known a scenario that, where active listening wasn't, communication wasn't great in there. So they will already have unclear messages, emotional reactions, etc. So you get them to think about a time where this showed up in their lives. And the other partner then must listen without interrupting for 5 minutes. So one person gets to talk their whole thing, and then they get to talk about all of that thing for 5 minutes, and the other person needs to listen. So I think, Trevor, you had an example of that, of
Yeah,
somebody.
so when I facilitated the wellness program with Caltech, this particular workshop is a great workshop, but be aware that active listening is not a very common practice in real time. And I had an experience where like all of these workshops, you facilitate them in a similar way. So you give them a chance. You may leave the room for a while and come back, and then go around the table. How's everyone getting on? Do you need any help? So on and so forth. And in my experience, usually, I mean, every group, there was one particular group, though, every group enjoyed it. One particular group, there was conflict there, and ended up the two that were together had an issue. That was one not active listening, but they're okay. They're going to come up. It's not going to all run perfectly, so you have to calibrate that as well, and assess that, and then reinforce the message about active listening, that they need to be silent 5 minutes, and it's not non-judgmental. um it's everything that Sharon has gone through, make sure that they are actually doing it in practice as well.
And then,
So
yeah. So that's then for each barrier, identify how visualization could prepare for these difficult situations. So again, and remember, when we speak out something, so whether we write it down like we're doing at the start with the paper, or whether we're speaking out something, we're getting it out of our head. So when we get it out of our head, it allows space then to say, oh God, you know what? I could actually, and this is why we do the visualization before. And then you get to this and they're like, oh, well, actually, yeah, I could see myself, having a good day there. Maybe if I change my way of thinking, that actually that project mightn't be as bad as I think it is. So it's just giving them those, they're looking at the scenario, and then they're coming back into, because you already have this slide up, and you're telling them then, like, to identify how visualization could prepare for these difficult situations in the future. So they're going to tell you within that 5 minutes, or their partner, they're going to tell their partner, this is the situation, this is what happened, and then, maybe I could use visualization for this, maybe I could see this better, maybe I could do more active listening, so they'll already have come with their information before the 5 minutes is up. So it's huge awareness for them. It's a huge kind of shift in their mindset, that actually I never thought about these things before. So you're giving them space to grow here, also, and to discuss and agree on a visualization, and a solution for next time the situation arises. So, that's when, people can come in and say that. So we're going to put you into breakout rooms, just for, maybe we'll just do about maybe 3 minutes each. So you pick a situation that maybe there was conflict, or maybe active listening, or, a scenario, maybe, what is something that caused stress in your life. And maybe it's something that's happening right now, or maybe it's something that's happening in the past. And take 3 minutes. So the other person listen actively for 3 minutes. So actively is really much that, if it was a thing that I asked you to repeat back what I said, you could repeat back what I said. So it's not about doing your shopping list while the other person in your head, while the other person's talking. It's been there, having the eye contact, doing the nodding, that you understand that you're listening. We'll give 3 minutes each to everybody, and just see, and have that communication with each other, that how could visualization work for you. So as therapists, we need to do the work. As I said, I am up early every morning doing all my meditation, doing my hypnotherapy, living my job, because I tell people to do it every day. So same thing with us here as therapists. We have to bounce off each other. We have to work off each other, and practice, practice, practice. And again, remember, you don't know. You might go into these thinking, well, I don't really know a lot. But the thing about it is, we bounce off each other, and we're all here to help and support each other. So I'm going to pop you into groups, into breakout rooms, and we'll just do about, maybe, because I know we're kind of a little bit pushed for time, but automatically, breakout rooms. How many people have we on now? Okay, let's see, 2, 4, 6. Okay, I'm gonna move. Okay, see how we get on. Everybody activated into a room there? So fantastic, and welcome back. So we will just slide into the next slide there. So once you come back from the or when they are in their sessions, they'll come back, and then all it is then is just taking that little bit of time, because this work will be the meat of the session this week. So really, you're only giving them probably maybe about 5-10 minutes just to look at their own action plans, to look at where they can implement and where they can put visualization and the active listening techniques into their plan for their homework or their coursework for the week ahead. So you just let them sit there by themselves, Trevor, is it, for about 5-10 minutes, just to have a look at their plan. And now they'll already have done a bit of it with their partner. So they'll already say, where could I, implement visualization, where could I put in? So they'll already have an idea. So this is just the end of it, that you'll just give them those few minutes to make sure that they have a plan. Because if we let them out without a plan, nothing will probably be done. So you just give them that 5-10 minutes to look at, okay, where can I implement this in my week ahead? And that is, would you say, probably about 10 minutes, Trevor?
Yeah, about 10 minutes. Make sure as well, like you referenced the completed action plans that, I don't know, Sharon, have you read them available, the completed
I'm sending them tonight.
this evening? So you're
Yeah.
going to get 3 or 4 completed, fully completed action plans so that you'll see how they're really the best ones that we picked as well, how they have updated them and what information that they've put in them. But with the action plan, remember, it's an iterative process that started off from the very first session with their SMART goals, then into applying the breathing practices, and then mindfulness last week, and then visualization. So the whole idea here is that you're teaching them all these tools and techniques, all of the concepts with the knowledge sharing, so they understand why these tools and techniques are beneficial, and then applying them to real life workplace scenarios to show them how much of an impact they can have. And yeah, so by the third session, they'll have well fleshed out action
Yeah.
plans. Yeah.
They'll know what they need to do with it by this session. They're already have so much familiarity in there. They'll know. And remember, they will be getting excited by this now because now they've had a couple of phenomenons. They'll be like, they're definitely their energy's changing. There's stuff that is happening outside in their lives that's changing. And they're all listening to each other now, so that now they can go back into work,
Mm.
tomorrow and say, well, we were talking about active listening today. So they all have that awareness now.
Yeah, with just one thing on that, Sharon, as well, with the workshops, remember, let them know it's a safe environment. There's no, it's all good. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to, this is a possibly could be the first time that they're practicing these techniques as well. And be prepared for situations to come up, like I just described, that I had the experience of, that need to be dealt with in a sensitive way, and a way that best resolves that conflict. But it's good that these things can come up, because the feedback that I got from the company was it's better that these are resolved than not resolved.
Yeah,
And number one, and number two, that coming up in the workshops is much better than coming up on the floor, the factory floor, where it can cause a pretty serious situation. So
brilliant.
yeah.
And that then slides into our last one. So the last one then is the finale. What, because of time wise, and we're just being conscious, we don't want to go over too late here. So I will actually record the last finale, and then you can watch the recording. So remember, this is just a quick 5-10 minute thing that you're going to just empower them, that all the learning, all the information this week we're just going to focus on a point on the wall. You're going to get them to focus on the point on the wall. As they're focused on the point of the wall, their eyes are becoming heavier and heavier and heavier. I actually gave a script last week for it. When the eyes are becoming heavier and heavier, in their own time, in their own way, their eyes will close. So they'll start then, we'll pick that point and the eyes will becoming heavier. So for the purpose of just time wise tonight, I will do that on a recording. You can listen to it, you can follow through with it. And then there's already a script that I sent in your emails last week for that one. But I'll resend it with this one as well. And that's it. You're sending them out in their day to have a wonderful week, and you're going and you are feeling nice and refreshed and energized. So, same thing for you here. Just update your action plans. Just again have that look where you can implement visualization in your own days, in your own life, for next week. Read through your manuals, read through the slides, listen to the recording when you can, even in bits and pieces if you're out walking or any of those things. Just make sure you're getting through the recordings. You're taking some time to take the module from the workbook and from the slides and just practice them. Again, I will set up buddies so you can, again, if you can connect, brilliant. I know it's not People aren't always able to, but if you can, practice, practice, practice makes perfect. As I say, we are here. If you need anything, if you wanted anything, and support or questions outside of this, just reach out. Okay, so I just want to thank you for this week, and I will look forward to seeing you next week. Trevor.
Great stuff. Same as Sharon. Thanks very much, folks. Hope you're enjoying the course, and we're building up momentum from week to week. And any questions that you have, fire them our way, and we can happily answer them. The next week, we have another great session lined up. We're getting into a fantastic technique some of you may have heard called auto-gening training. So we're going to be diving into that and some new really amazing dynamic icebreakers and workshops, and of course the empowerment finales. So that's all to come.
Brilliant.
But thanks for your participation tonight. We're halfway through already, 4 sessions completed all of it. It's hard to believe, but I'm enjoying it. I know Sharon, you're enjoying it as well. I hope
Absolutely, yeah.
everybody here is enjoying it. Obviously, this is the first time that we've ran this course, and we're excited to be doing it. So
Brilliant.
listen, enjoy the
Thanks
rest
a
of the
million,
week, and
everybody, and
we
we'll
see
talk
you
to you
all next
soon.
week.